From ally awareness to knowledge and ability. Happy GAD everyone! I am Åsa Holmberg and I work as a digital accessibility strategist, and I'm also an advocate for inclusive design. I call myself a government geek since I have worked at many governmental organizations, and I have a passion for creating a better future with well-functioning digital services for everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the public sector organization's transformation journey towards meeting the requirements of the Web Accessibility Directive. So, where did we start? We formed a cross-functional team who began to fix a lot of old accessibility bugs, and we developed processes and checklists, and we also decided on how we should interpret and implement the WCAG guidelines. And some people might think that it's enough to just fix accessibility bugs and have processes and checklists in place, but it doesn't stop there. The bigger job is to build the ability in the organization to continuously create accessible services, documents, and websites. And for that ability to be built, the organization must be aware of the need. Awareness. Many in the public sector are focused on legalities and sometimes forget the human reasons behind the rules and regulations. But the law is really about people. The purpose of the law is not to make life difficult for civil servants who develop digital services. The purpose of the law is to enable everyone to participate in society. So, we raise awareness about the importance of accessibility. And we also try to engage people by reminding them on how important it is. People usually find it interesting to hear that 1 out of 5 users are affected by the lack of accessibility. And then we also remind them that the number is even higher if we consider all the temporary and situational disabilities that people can have. We also put up inspirational posters from gov.uk, the posters that contain do's and don'ts when designing for different users. And of course, we trained and educated people in different professions and roles. All this contributes to people becoming more aware of the need of accessibility. But this is just the beginning. What will happen now in the transformation journey? The change curve. I noticed that the transformation pretty much follows a traditional change curve. The change curve shows how emotions in humans vary over time when people are in the process of change. Feelings go up and down during a transformation, and that's completely normal. As an example, we can take those in the organization who are about to take responsible for making documents accessible. People's emotions generally go up when we raise awareness about the need for accessibility. They think it's interesting to learn something new. But time passes and the deadline is approaching. The Web Accessibility Directive must soon be implemented. People know that we will no longer accept inaccessible documents on the website, and this is making people feeling a bit stressed. At this point, the positive emotions go down. People might try to deny the need for change and try to negotiate themselves out of it. They say things like, couldn't this pass as disproportionate burden? Or can someone else solve this for us? Why can't the communication department make our PDFs accessible? To that I say, you have to take responsibility for your own information. No communications department can do that for you. And every department and section that publishes documents and other type of information has a responsibility to make sure that the information is accessible. So people realize that they can't escape change. They have to accept it. The positive emotions are now at an all-time low. Now it's time to encourage people to start trying, even if they don't have all the answers yet. Some of them have had some training in how to make the documents accessible. So now it's time for everyone to start practicing it. And they are now willing to try, but are still looking for easy and simple solutions. Will a good word template solve the accessibility automatically? Can't you give us a really, really simple checklist with only 10 items on or so? To that, I say no. When people ask for simple checklists, I tell them that if I was going to France and didn't speak the language, would you give me a simple checklist with 10 items and expect me to immediately be able to speak French? Probably not. Accessibility can be quite hard actually, but only in the beginning. And the more you practice, the easier it will get. You need to take ownership. The emotions go up when people start exploring the tools and techniques. They start to take ownership over the situation. They actively try to adapt the accessibility requirements to their own reality. They ask themselves, how might we take care of this? Examples of people taking ownership were that some began to create their own reference guides for specific types of documents that they were handling. The manuals that we had provided during early trainings were extensive and covered everything. This made people feel overwhelmed. So they wanted information that suited their own particular needs on a need-to-know basis. For example, if you work at a legal department, you might not need to handle images or complicated tables in your documents. Another example was that people started a competence network for creating accessible documents so that they could help each other across the organizational silos. They had been feeling lonely where they sat in different parts of the organization and facing the same problems. So we inspired them to reach out to one another and learn from each other, since all this with accessible document was something new for everyone. The important thing here is to constantly encourage people to do things themselves. You can't really learn accessibility without actively doing it, and doing it, and doing it again. It's learning by doing. So, are we finally at the end of the transformation? No, we are not. Accessibility is an endurance sport. And without reinforcement, accessibility will never stick in the organization. It's like vacuum cleaning. You need to do it over and over again. There will be new people around. They will need to be trained and infused with accessibility thinking, and new techniques will emerge, and these need to be understood from an accessibility perspective. What we have developed must be codified into the organization's policies and official guidelines, so the transformation journey is far from finished. This can feel like an overwhelming task and sometimes frustrating, since we can feel stuck. But when I look back on how far we have come during this last 5 years, I realize that the old saying is true. We tend to overestimate what we can do in a month, but underestimate what we can do in a year. Thank you.